Hi, my name is Lindsey Roznovsky, and my presentation is on environmental PSAs. Now, I looked for a lot of different PSAs to show you, and surprisingly, there weren't a lot of professionally done ads that fell into this category compared to the categories of safety and health. And that told me two things. First of all, there were a lot done just by the general public, which I felt like shows that as humans who care about the world that we live in, a lot of people are stepping up to the plate to create these PSAs on their own. Secondly, I think that there's opportunity for corporations to step up to the plate and put the money towards having ads professionally made that talk about this subject matter. But I did find some fun ones, and I hope you guys enjoy. So here we go. All right, so this first one is on wildfire prevention, and I chose the subject of dragging chains because it was a little bit different than just making sure you put out a cigarette butt or putting out a fire, and there's someone very familiar in the ad, so let's see. Oh, sorry about that. So Smokey the Bear, oops, sorry. Smokey the Bear obviously is someone very recognizable, and through the years, the wildlife prevention, when it comes to forest fires, I've always used Smokey the Bear. His looks have changed. He used to be very cartoony. Now in recent ads, he's more humanized. He's walking around. He looks more real if a bear can actually walk around and be that big. But him being a character that people have known for a long time, he's likable and trustworthy, and so that creates credibility. The message, there is loss framed message because it does emphasize the risk of behavior, that if you drag chains, there is a bad thing that can happen if you do that. Self-efficacy and explicit conclusion because it says only you can prevent forest fires, which is a pretty clear message, explicit conclusion, and the self-efficacy is that you can do this, you can prevent this. There's high sensation seeking. I thought the idea was very novel. They kind of made it like a scary movie. It's very dramatic. Again, the music that was in the background, the way it was lit, the angles of the camera, you could tell that the actor was scared. I do think it was emotional because you can tell, again, the actor was scared, and then Smokey the Bear gives him a hug, and so then there's the change of emotion of him being relieved and, oh, it's okay. It is suspenseful, again, going back to the music and the way that it was shot itself. The fear pills, the parallel response model, there was danger control by telling you how to avert the danger, and that would be by not dragging chains behind you, and the destination is prevention. So moving on to the next one, this is recycling. I love this ad. It's, I think, a very different approach. I think it's a beautiful ad, and I hope y'all enjoy it. Oops. Okay. So, sorry. Oh, there we go. With this one, the source, I put similarity, the voice being a female voice. I feel like half the world is going to be able to relate to that. It's a very pleasant voice, which I think is pleasing, easy on the ears. I also think that the similarity being that people can feel as though they're connecting to this ad because of the diverse visuals. If you look at the shots where the bottle is blowing across the world or across the country, and they're showing different parts of I would say, the United States. I feel like each person could probably identify with the different aspect or different part of the country that they're showcasing. The message, it's a narrative. The voiceover, she's telling the story as if she is the bottle herself, which I think was a really neat approach that the advertising agency took. It's game framed because it emphasizes the benefits, especially at the ending shot. You see the bottle blowing all over the world, country, and then at the end you see that the bottle has been turned into this beautiful bench, and the bench is sitting there by the ocean. So I think that's a really neat message. That if you recycle, beautiful things can come out of it. And then explicit conclusion and recommendation specific, they do talk about, there's the recycle logo at the end, and the website is also given. So the destination I put as immediate and delayed, because I feel like this really showed that if you recycle now, that would be the immediate aspect, that there are things, really good things that can come at the end. So there's a delayed response as well. And the audience, I feel like, is any and every one of us. Moving on to the next one, this is on lake contamination. Giant salvinia monster, that's the name of this one, and this was done by FPO in San Antonio. They've had this account for several years, and this was a specific message that the Texas Parks and Wildlife wanted to share through a PSA. Mm-hmm. All right. So in this one, the source is credibility. There is the humor. The Salvinia is the character, and he does use humor throughout the ad. And humor increases trustworthiness, which then increases credibility. The message, there's an explicit conclusion. There is a clear message of what you should do to keep this from happening, the spread of Salvinia from lake to lake or bodies of water to bodies of water within the state of Texas. There's self-efficacy through behavior modeling. If you see the boater, he actually takes the Salvinia off of the rotor or the blade of the motor and puts it in the trash. And then there's even a line where the Salvinia says, "Oh, you're killing me," which I think is really funny. This is game framed because it does show the benefit of this type of behavior. The audience is anyone who enjoys bodies of water in Texas. I've actually experienced Salvinia whenever I was paddleboarding in Austin. It was getting caught in the cord that was attached to the board. So the more I paddled, the harder it got because there was more Salvinia. So this spoke to me specifically through something that I experienced recently. The CAP model is prevalent here, knowledge, and then also kind of changing your attitude, making you aware of it, and then it shows you the practice that you can continue to do so that, again, you keep this from happening. And the destination is prevention. Moving on is water conservation. This one is Willie Nelson. This is by the city of Austin, and I think it's really interesting that they chose Willie Nelson, and we'll talk more about that after you watch it. Okay. So the source, Willie is very credible when it comes to this particular subject matter. A lot of people think of Willie as, being a promoter of smoking marijuana and legalizing marijuana, but a lot of people don't know that he's actually very active when it comes to agriculture. He hosts Farm Aid every year, which is a huge fundraiser for farms. And of course, farmers could not succeed without water, and they also have to keep to these restrictions as well. But he is credible because he's people know him speaking on matters such as water and farming and livestock and agriculture. Likability, he's a celebrity, so people like him. And a lot of people think he's attractive. Not me personally, but depending on who you're asking, people do think that he's cute or whatever. So that helps with him being persuasive in this message. Speaking of message, there is a fear appeal. There's severity and susceptibility. It does talk about, what could happen if people do not conserve water, and this is a subject matter that all of us can relate to. So there is susceptibility there. There's an explicit conclusion and recommendation specificity. Oh goodness, sorry. It does tell you how to help. It gives specific instructions. Self-efficacy through social support, because it says let's work together, and I think that's a great line that they added into the ad. The CAP model is prevalent through knowledge, attitude, and practice. The audience is Austin residents, but also anyone who's just within the South Texas region, I think, can relate to this as well. We're always having to deal with drought issues. And then the destination is immediate and delayed. And moving on to the last one, and this one's my favorite. It's very cute. This is on stormwater pollution, and I bet you can't guess what the duck has to do with this. Okay. So with this one, the source, I put similarity because the family that you see, I think, it's in a regular neighborhood. It's a family. A lot of us can relate to that. They're mowing, which is a normal activity that a lot of people have to do. And I also put attractiveness because I think that the baby's super cute. I think that grabs people's attention, and people always have a really good warm fuzzy whenever they see a child that's happy and smiling. Message, loss framed because it emphasizes the risk of the behavior. It's high sensation seeking because of the music. It's very dramatic. You see the yellow duck go to a red duck. It's suspenseful. You see that the ducks are like in the yard and then they're going down the drain. And then it's also graphic, I think, at the end, because you see the one guy who's there with all the yucky ducks, and then there's the yucky polluted water. So I feel like that's graphic. There's self-efficacy here because there's empowered awareness through this particular ad. There's fear appeal through severity and susceptibility. Again, it does show what could happen if you don't do this, and then this is something that I think all of us can relate to in regards to, if there's chemicals in the water in your lawn and then it's getting to the water system, you can definitely relate to how gross that could be. And then explicit conclusion, and there is also the recommendation is specified. It tells you the steps to take so that you can prevent this from happening. At the end, there's a website, and there's also a nice tagline in the end. And the destination is prevention and cessation. So this tells you how to prevent it, and then if you are doing it, it tells you how to stop doing it. So that concludes my presentation. Thank you so much.